All right, welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're looking for a rapid, action-oriented digest of the July 14th, 2026 weekly update, you are in exactly the right place. We've got a ton of absolutely critical information to get through today. I'm talking tight funding deadlines, mandatory system changes, the whole shebang. So grab a coffee, get ready to take some notes, and let's get into it.
But real quick, before we jump into all those details, I want to anchor this explainer right here in our local community. If you're part of a pharmacy team in the Avon, Wiltshire, or BSW areas, rest assured this information is tailored specifically for your operational success. We're here to make sure your local pharmacy is fully equipped, well-funded, and totally compliant for the season ahead. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're breaking down 6 critical areas. Number 1, Men B vaccination funding. 2, the Pharmacy Quality Scheme. 3, the RAV system update. 4, BSW local payments. 5, clinical record keeping. And finally 6, upcoming face-to-face training. Section 1, Men B vaccination funding. We are kicking things off with incredibly high energy here because frankly, there is some significant funding on the line for your pharmacy if you move quickly. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the bonus available. If your pharmacy establishes the meningococcal B vaccination service, you're looking at up to £700 in total bonus funding. This breaks down like this. You get £300 just for administering your very first vaccination, and an extra £400 if you hit 100 or more by the end of March 2027. Oh, and by the way, that's completely on top of the base rate of £10.06 for every single vaccine you administer. It's huge! But how do you actually get that money? Well, there are 3 mandatory steps you've got to follow. Step 1, read the published service specification and patient group direction. You've got to make sure you meet the requirements. Step 2 is a bit of a specific operational quirk that you absolutely cannot miss. The vaccine itself is centrally supplied, so you aren't claiming reimbursement for the drug, but, and this is a big but, your pharmacy has to provide its own needles, so stock up. Finally, step 3, and honestly this is the most urgent takeaway today, you must sign up using the registration form by 23:59 on the 20th of July 2026. Literally, do not let this deadline slip by. Section 2, the Pharmacy Quality Scheme. Let's shift over to the 2026/27 PQS update, which is our next major financial opportunity.
Guys, this isn't just another administrative checklist to throw on the pile. There is a massive £20 million funding pot attached to the new PQS. Understanding the requirements for this scheme is absolutely critical for your pharmacy's bottom line this year. The national team has put out a whole range of resources, like action plan templates and checklists, to help you actually get compliant without the headache. So, the crucial point is this incredibly tight window for the aspiration payment. Look at this timeline. The window opens on the 13th of July and closes completely on the 28th of July. That is a tiny window. If you want to claim that aspiration payment, you need to act immediately. The final declaration period isn't until February 2027, sure, but getting that aspiration claim in right now, that's step 1. Section 3, RAV system update. All right, we're shifting gears now from funding opportunities over to mandatory administrative changes. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what the new RAVs portal interface looks like. Familiarizing your team with this is vital. Why? Because starting September 1st, 2026, every single community pharmacy in England must use this exact system to record all NHS vaccinations. That includes flu and COVID-19. You'll still get paid automatically by the NHS BSA through Manager Service, but hear me on this. That only happens if the data is entered right here in RAVs. To make this transition smooth, there are some specific staff roles you need to set up in the system right now. First, one representative from each pharmacy needs to register as the lead administrator. Once you're in, it's highly recommended you set up a second lead admin, just for business continuity in case someone is out sick. Also, if your lead admins are off-site, you absolutely must have an administrator physically on-site at the pharmacy premises. Only these specific roles can actually add the required vaccine info. Oh, and one quick side note, RAVs is strictly for NHS vaccines. Private vaccinations? No way. They cannot use this system. Honestly, set this all up now so you can troubleshoot any weird system bugs way before the winter rush hits.
Section 4, BSW local payments. This next update is highly localized. It's specifically for those of you operating in the BSW area, so Bath and Northeast Somerset, Swindon, and Wiltshire.
We really need to contrast the old payment flow with the new method, just so pharmacy owners aren't looking in the wrong place for their hard-earned revenue. Under the old method, payments for locally commissioned services, like local PGDs, came directly from the ICB. But starting back on April 1, 2026, that whole process changed. Your payments are now coming through the NHS BSA right alongside your standard pharmacy payments. They did this to make payments faster and more reliable. If you're confused or you spot any issues with your payments, just shoot an email to Helen Wilkinson directly at hwilkinson1@nhs.net.
Section 5. Clinical Record Keeping. Pivoting to a supercritical operational update, let's talk about integrated care and how we're communicating with our local GPs.
So, the local pharmaceutical committee has been getting some very real-world feedback from GP practices about the notes they receive after a clinical consultation, especially regarding the Pharmacy First service. Now, I want to frame this carefully. This isn't a reprimand, not at all. It's just a crucial area where we can really improve the continuity of patient care, because when notes aren't clear, that communication between healthcare professionals just completely breaks down.
To fix this, here is the exact, actionable checklist that GPs are actually begging for when you write up your clinical notes. Make sure you include a short history. Jot down the specific symptoms. If it's applicable, you have to clearly specify the side of the body. For example, say left eye or right eye, don't just write eye. It sounds basic, but it's a real game changer for them. And finally, detail the exact advice you gave the patient. If you or your team feel like you need a quick refresher, CPPE has an awesome 6-hour e-learning package all about documenting and patient clinical records. Remember, clear communication ultimately protects your patient, and for sure it protects your pharmacy. Section 6. Upcoming F2F Training. All right, this brings us to our last segment for today. Let's focus on your professional development and compliance training.
Let's move to and see how this builds your team's readiness for the upcoming season. Avon Healthcare Services, or AHS, is running a face-to-face vaccination and basic life support training evening. This is a brilliant opportunity because the training is being delivered directly by a paramedic. It's happening on Wednesday, the 9th of September, from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Somerdale Pavilion over in Kinsham. As you can see, AHS members get a nice discounted rate of £50 per person, while non-members pay £65. And yes, they are providing tea and coffee, which is always a bonus.
Now, places for this are strictly limited. So to secure your spot, you need to email office.avonhealthcareservices@gmail.com right away. When you send that email, just be sure to state your name, your pharmacy's name, your contact details, and whether or not you're an AHS member.
Wow, okay, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, from sweeping 20 million pound PQS schemes all the way down to the nitty-gritty of documenting left versus right eyes in your clinical notes. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one final thought. Have you secured your MENB funding by the July 20th deadline? And have you actually assigned your RAVS administrators before that mandatory September rollout? The clock is literally ticking on these summer deadlines. So take these action items back to your team today and make absolutely sure your pharmacy isn't leaving money or compliance on the table. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.